We'll be getting you all the updates, but let's start with the speed news. The Trump administration has placed additional sanctions on Iran as part of an economic pressure campaign, this time targeting the country's newly created agency that is trying to control shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. The sanctions target Iran's Persian Gulf Strait Authority and any person or entity cooperating with the agency that approves transit in the strait and charges tolls. The U.S. military carried out new overnight strikes in Iran targeting a military site and shot down 4 Iranian one-way attack drones that posed a threat near the Strait of Hormuz. This is according to a U.S. official. The official told Reuters that the targeted site was an Iranian ground control station in Bandar Abbas that was preparing to launch a 5th drone. The official described the action as measured, purely defensive and intended to maintain the ceasefire. Iranian media said the Revolutionary Guards fired at an American oil tanker after it attempted to pass through the Strait of Hormuz with its radar system turned off, forcing it to stop and turn back. U.S. President Donald Trump said he was unconcerned about the political fallout of an extended conflict with Iran. Trump added that Iranian leaders had miscalculated if they thought the November midterm elections would force him into a deal. The U.S. military said it carried out a strike in the Eastern Pacific, killing 2 men. The U.S. Southern Command said in statement, and I quote here, "Intelligence confirmed that the vessel was transiting along known narco-trafficking routes in the Eastern Pacific and was engaged in narco-trafficking operations." It added that no U.S. military officers or forces were harmed. It described those killed as male narco-terrorists without offering details. Israel's military issued an evacuation warning for residents of the city of Tyre in southern Lebanon. The IDF said it would operate against Iran-backed group Hezbollah in the area. The Israeli military said that residents of the zone around certain buildings should leave and travel north of the Zahrani River. Russia's relentless assault on Ukraine continues. In the latest, Russian drone struck the southern port city of Odessa, killing 11 people, including 2 children. The strikes damaged residential buildings and led to massive fires. Firefighters were seen battling the intense blaze. Those wounded include 6 men, 3 women and 2 children aged 11 and 12. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has written to President Donald Trump and Congress asking for more American-made air defense ammunition to counter intensifying Russian ballistic missile attacks. This against the backdrop of Russian lawmakers backing a draft bill to have bank employees join the fight against Ukraine's long-range drones that strike deep inside Russia, with trained bank staff shooting down the unmanned aircraft. The rapidly spreading Ebola outbreak continues to spark fear, with suspected Ebola cases continues to rise. As of now, the official number is more than 900 and over 220 suspected deaths are recorded. The WHO chief has called for immediate ceasefire in the eastern part of Democratic Republic of Congo, where a critical aid shortage persists. The suspected infections and deaths have been reported across 3 eastern Congo provinces, including North and South Kivu. These are areas where armed groups continue to hinder access for health workers. India has sent emergency pharmaceutical supplies to support efforts to contain the Ebola outbreak in Congo. In a social media post, Ethiopia-headquartered Africa CDC said the consignment donated by India was received in Uganda by its Eastern Africa Regional Coordinating Center. The supplies include essential diagnostics, therapeutics, infection prevention and control materials, and case management support, which will be deployed to affected communities in Eastern DR Congo. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said it must prevent any cases of Ebola from entering the country from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where an outbreak has already caused a suspected 220 deaths and 900 cases. U.S. is in talks with Kenya over quarantine facility for Americans, while CDC has imposed travel restrictions and expanded airport screenings. Amid soaring tensions, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Cuba is in a lot of trouble. Well, he said the statement while talking to Venezuela's oil exports to the U.S. Well, Trump has said and has been threatening military action in Cuba ever since capturing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and then ordering an energy blockade that choked off his fuel shipments to Cuba. Rubio described Cuba as a failed state and said having one so close to the United States poses a threat to U.S. national security. The search for 9 people missing after a chemical tank imploded and ruptured a day earlier in Washington state has moved from rescue to a recovery effort, likely bringing the total death toll to 11. Officials had previously confirmed 2 fatalities, at least 8 people were injured, some critically. Authorities said they don't yet know what caused a 900,000-gallon vat at the Nippon Dynawave packaging facility to implode. The container held white liquor, a chemical solution of sodium hydroxide and sodium sulfide used in making paper pulp that can cause severe burns on skin. Five more children died from measles-like symptoms in Bangladesh in the last 24 hours, taking the total death toll to 560 since March 15th this year. According to the Directorate General of Health Services, the deaths were classified as suspected measles-related cases. Among the suspected deaths, the highest 2 were reported in the Dhaka division. With these, the total number of confirmed deaths from measles has risen to 88, while suspected deaths have reached 472. A Seoul court acquitted former President Yoon Suk-yeol of giving false testimony during former Prime Minister Han Duk-seo's insurrection trial. Yoon had been indicted on charges for perjury for giving a false impression during Han's trial last year that the cabinet meeting he convened before declaring martial law on December 3, 2024 was planned even before Han suggested it. The first group of Ghanaian nationals repatriated from South Africa arrived in Accra after waves of anti-immigrant protests heightened safety concerns within foreign communities. South African authorities have been working with Ghanaian authorities on a list of around 800 people who have indicated that they want to leave. Repatriation followed a wave of anti-immigration protests in recent weeks, with the campaigners demanding tighter controls on what they described as undocumented migrants and accusing foreigners of contributing to crime and unemployment. Pope Leo got behind the wheel of Ferrari's first all-electric car at his residence in Castel Gandolfo, near Rome. The Pope, a well-known car enthusiast, inspected the newly launched loose model with Ferrari chairman John Elkann, who was joined by company executives and engineers. The West Bengal government has handed over 142.79 acres of land to the BSF for setting up outposts and barbed wire fencing infrastructure along the India-Bangladesh border. The Chief Minister said the decision was taken at its first cabinet meeting on May 11th to transfer 600 acres of land within 45 days for border fencing and related infrastructure projects. The Chief Minister, in a social media post, said that the Government of Bengal has initiated intensified measures to strengthen border security by facilitating construction of BSF outposts and barbed wire fencing, further enhancing security in the border areas. OpenAI's non-profit foundation has announced a $250 million fund to help workers and economies deal with AI-driven job disruption. The foundation said the money will support research, grants and community programs focused on the impact of AI on employment and economic change. OpenAI also said it plans to study new ways of sharing AI's economic benefits more broadly, as companies around the world increasingly use AI to automate tasks and cut jobs. The European Central Bank, or ECB, has warned that Eurozone banks must invest more in cybersecurity, as new AI models are capable of finding software flaws, posing growing risks to the financial sector. ECB Vice President Luis de Guindos said banks need stronger defenses against AI-powered cyber attacks, particularly as advanced tools like Anthropic's Mythos create new security challenges for legacy banking systems. The ECB has also been reviewing how prepared European banks are to handle these emerging threats. Global companies are increasingly using AI at their India-based hubs to handle creative advertising work in-house, reducing dependence on external agencies and cutting production time. Companies including Kimberly-Clark, Catalyst Brands and Target India say AI tools are now being used for product images, videos, influencer selection and campaign optimization. Kimberly-Clark said content creation time has dropped from 24 days to just 2 hours using an India-built AI platform, while analysts say the rise of AI is rapidly changing the global advertising industry. Asian markets advanced sharply, with South Korea leading gains as the Kospi surged to a fresh record high, officially extending its 2026 rally beyond 100%. Investor sentiment remains strong across the region, supported by optimism around technology and AI-driven growth. Japan's Nikkei also traded near record levels, while broader Asian equities gained as markets tracked Wall Street's strength and easing concerns over geopolitical risks. Technology and semiconductor shares continued to drive momentum, with investors betting on resilient demand and stable regional growth. Oil prices rebounded sharply after reports of fresh US strikes on an Iranian military site, raising fears of escalating tensions in West Asia, despite ongoing peace negotiations between Washington and Tehran. Brent crude climbed back above $96 a barrel, while US crude also gained nearly 2% after both benchmarks had fallen sharply on hopes for a ceasefire deal. Markets remain focused on risks to oil supply through the Strait of Hormuz, while falling US crude inventories are adding to concerns over tightening global supply. Gold prices slipped after fresh US strikes in Iran pushed oil prices higher, increasing fears of rising inflation and prolonged high interest rates. A stronger US dollar also pressured bullion prices, while investors are now focused on key US inflation data and Federal Reserve signals for clues on future rate moves, as tensions in West Asia continue to drive volatility across global markets. Meanwhile, rising energy costs are adding to concerns that central banks may keep interest rates elevated for longer to control inflation. In a major upset at the French Open, Women's World No. 2 Elena Rybakina has been knocked out in the second round. The Kazakh star blew a one-set lead in dramatic fashion at Roland Garros, slumping to a 3-6, 6-1, 7-6 loss at the hands of unseeded Ukrainian Yulia Starodubtseva. It is Rybakina's earliest exit from any WTA tournament since the 2025 Miami Open and her first defeat in the opening 2 rounds of a major since the 2024 Australian Open. Starodubtseva will face China's Wang Xiu for the place in the last 16. 15-year-old sensation Vaibhav Suryavanshi has broken another record in the IPL. The teenager has now surpassed Chris Gale's record for most sixes in the single IPL season. The Rajasthan Royals batter surpasses the previous mark of 59 sixes during his extraordinary knock of 97 from just 29 balls against the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Suryavanshi also almost broke the record for the fastest century in IPL history, a record that is also held by Chris Gale, who reached the three-figure mark in 30 balls. He struck 12 sixes in his innings in New Chandigarh and now has struck 65 sixes in the IPL this season. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, renamed Atlanta Stadium in accordance with FIFA regulations, is getting a new makeover. On Tuesday, the Mercedes-Benz signage was covered by a FIFA banner. 8 matches will be hosted there, starting with group stage matches in mid-June and ending with the semi-final match on July 15th. The Benz, as local fans know it, is no stranger to hosting soccer matches. Opened in 2017, it is the home of Atlanta United of MLS and the Atlanta Falcons of the NFL. Robert De Niro is celebrating a big milestone as the Tribeca Festival marks its 25th year. The actor said he is proud the festival is still here after surviving everything from the pandemic to major industry changes. Well, this year's edition will feature a record 103 films, 55 first-time directors and filmmakers from 44 countries. Bruce Springsteen will also receive the Harry Belafonte Voices for Social Justice Award, while special events include a conversation between De Niro and Martin Scorsese and a new presentation from Madonna. The festival will run from June 3rd to June 14th in New York. A 21-year-old man has pleaded guilty in an Australian court over a plot to attack a Taylor Swift concert in Vienna back in 2024. Well, authorities had cancelled Swift's 3 Eras Tour shows in the city after foiling the alleged plan at the last moment. The cancellation left thousands of fans heartbroken, though many Swifties still gathered across Vienna for sing-alongs and friendship bracelet exchanges. The accused also faces other terror-related charges linked to alleged extremist activities. Marvel legend Stan Lee is set to return in a new way years after his death. An AI audiobook, 11 Labs, has signed a deal with Stan Lee Universe to license his voice and likeness for commercial use. The AI-generated version of Stan Lee will also narrate audiobooks through the 11 Readers app, including Treasure Island. Representatives say the move is about keeping Stan Lee's connection with fans alive in modern digital spaces. Stan Lee breathed his last in 2018 at the age of 95. The World of Eternia is heading back to cinemas. Masters of the Universe held its UK premiere in London with Queen guitarist Brian May among those walking the red carpet. May also contributed to guitar solos to the film's score, directed by Bumblebee filmmaker Travis Knight. The new reboot explores He-Man's origin story before he became the legendary warrior. The film hit cinemas on June 5th. More than 150 young performers from across New York took center stage at the 20th Garden of Dreams talent show at Radio City Music Hall. The participants, many of whom come from charities supporting children facing illness, homelessness or foster care, were guided by celebrity mentors. The event featured music, dance and live performances in front of a public audience.